with Linux is setting up Ventrilo and Wine. Otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. Possibly a little bit more straightforward than Windows because you don't really have to mess around with getting Cygwin and an SSH server installed on there since it's already there. So I don't know. Maybe the Linux VM is overkill. I guess that's for whoever, if anyone else, does this next. So how you build this Tor circuit? So you connect to the control port that you specified in your Tor CVET there. You tell you want to authenticate. You want to get circuit events, and then you want to build your circuit. So you say, well, extend circuit 0 to have Tor give you a number, and then you give it 3 nodes. And if you're an absolute fool, you will go through the node owned by the people who are running the conference, so that it is quite easily for them or anyone who is coercing them to trace you and track you down. I didn't do that. This is just an example. I figured I'd throw that in there because, chaos is good. So then, after you build the circuit, it'll tell you when it's built. And then you can, when you make your connection, your SSH connection through PuTTY or whatever, with your proxy set, you'll get the stream event, and then you just tell it, okay, well, attach this stream that came in to circuit 27. And then it says, okay, and if it works, it tells you that it always sent connect, and then it's succeeded. If it doesn't work, maybe your exit policy is messed up, maybe the node you're using is messed up. So you might have to try again. So then beyond all that, although just the setup, I mean, you can get owned quite easily just outside of all this elaborate networking setup. If you're, for example, releasing or you decide to include IDA on the VMware image to give a demo, all the IDA copies are tagged, and either your name will show up or a name of that's known to be on the BitTorrent servers will show up, and then you can be tracked down that way. The SDK is clean, so we don't. Thankfully, I didn't really have to worry about the plugin so much. Then for the documents involved themselves, the paper and the slides, OpenOffice was used. The open document format is XML, so it's easy to verify that there's no personal information involved buried in the docs. And then, in fact, there was a username in the form of a path. So if you're working in Windows or in Linux and you're working in like My Documents or in your home directory and desktop, whatever, your path will be in the file, even if you have told it to not save your user data. So you probably want to save that thing in temp if you actually have to distribute the originals. The PDFs probably don't have that information. I tried strings on them and I didn't really see it in there. So I don't think the PDFs have it in there. And Microsoft does have a metadata tool to remove this from their stuff, but the document format is proprietary. If they've missed something like OpenOffice has, you can't really tell. So a pass on that. Then on the VM, even if you don't have to worry about Windows sending, doing verification against your serial number, in Fedora you probably do have to worry about the fact that the VM that all these RPMs have their install date and time. So if a motivated adversary could, roll over to the Yum update servers, which do record IPs for user number tracking purposes, and say, well, this update was downloaded this time. What servers had downloaded this? What IPs have downloaded this package at this time? So you have to worry about that. The GDK is kind of a pain in the ass to obtain. It's free, but Microsoft only wants to mail it to people. And then WinDebug can give you a way when you're debugging kernel drivers and Windows programs if it tries to search the Microsoft symbol servers for your symbols. Unclear if those are logged or not. They may be, they may be not. It's probably a lot of data to log, maybe expired, but maybe not. And then, of course, Google, webmail access, and everything should be done through Tor, and the usual precautions for Tor apply. Filtering cookies and whatnot when you turn Tor on and off, and Privacy or Firefox extensions to block JavaScript and stuff. So yeah, so this doesn't hurt quite nearly as much as it looks. It's actually relatively painless, but there are some pain points. Most of all, as I is sort of should is what should probably become apparent from the previous slides is that it's easy to mess up. And then even if you do this all right, maybe it's very possible your friends will post on forums or Slashdot to defend your talk idea, or visit the Khan website just to visit your abstract from their work IP or an IP that reverse resolves to their name even. Then maybe they'll mention, brag, or blog that they know the speaker. And probably even more importantly than this is the intersections from expertise issues, who has the expertise to do this. If you're doing research in a novel area that very few people do have interest in that area, you definitely have a very small anonymity set. Unless somebody came out of the blue to do this, it's possible to quickly narrow down a list of suspects from people who are known to have done rootkit work, memory cloaking work or whatever. So then from this suspect list, who purchased this equipment, tools you use, suddenly credit card purchases or whatever online purchases become a lot more relevant. Did anybody buy, IDA? Did anybody buy the voice disguiser? Did anybody buy whatever that was used recently for this thing? Then mistakes during your setup. If you're doing a hasty test, your firewall rules are wrong or whatever, the thing manages to phone home. Right during your test. Your voice disguiser manages to phone home. And then after this, your slide style, your speaking style, tend to say a lot. You tend to ramble a lot. So all these are sort of fingerprints that can help narrow you down. And then from here, if there's a serious motivated adversary, maybe none of this is enough to necessarily convict you, but if there's significant interest, if there's significant interest, you can an interrogation can begin. You can start shaking down people who have said things. You can start interviewing the list of suspects, see if anybody's said anything, and so on. So on top of all this, there's numerous downsides. You don't necessarily get the resume padding. The audience is deprived of the human element. I've had no feedback from you guys. Well, Mike would have been nice to see if I can hear, but there's just so many components involved. Getting them all tested and working ahead of time is it's pretty difficult. So fortunately, we had to go without. And then it's getting it right so it's not a distraction for me is even more work. So it's pretty difficult. And then the speaker is deprived of networking with others who share interests. Well, I'll be on IRC, so that's possible there. Then if you screw up, you make mistakes, then you look stupid. And depending on your circumstances, depending on how motivated the adversary is, maybe in some trouble with the law, or angry thugs, Blizzard coming to break your kneecaps or whatever. Sony getting pissed off, Apple angry, whatever. They break knees, maybe. At least their lawyers will. So, just to catch up a little bit. Should be on, is it worth it now? My slide still hasn't changed, but the little counter is still running, so I'm still connected. Well, maybe it's worth it. I guess you decide. Please do give feedback. We did our best. I did my best. The 23C people did our best. Some things would have been nicer, but, can't do everything right. So have mercy, but please be detailed. Please be specific if you do decide to give feedback. Personal standpoint, well, I just think it's worth it for me. I thought it was really fascinating to learn about all the ways that we're tracked in a given day. I don't know. I have it's sort of a political standpoint just to go overkill on tracking, just because, I mean, if you look at this from the perspective of, an interstellar being from Sirius B, basically, humankind, we're zoo animals. The elites, or whoever has access to this data, law enforcement, private investigators, people with access to the Google logs, they can watch over us and find out what they want, what they want to sell to us, find if any of us are possible political opponents to them, what have you. It's pretty sick, if you ask me. I think it's worth it to go overkill. In trying to defeat these various tracking mechanisms, just because they're there, I guess. So then for DRM research and whistleblower info, maybe some talk is better than no talk. I think it might be useful for people who work on DRM, the people who have been broke. Oh, I've disappeared? Fuck. So I hope you got my zoo animal rant. I like that one. But, so I was on to the DRM rambling. Maybe I think this might be useful for, the Maxis or the people who've broken the Apple TPM protection. I think that'd be pretty interesting to see in detail a talk on that. So, and it might be nice for them to be able to develop a non-corporeal persona that they can use, attend some cons, get some press for whatever aliases they decide to use. Probably better to develop a name first so that the press actually says, oh, this guy's talking again, let's pay attention. So that's that. That's pretty much it, I guess. I guess if there's time, I'm about a minute early, but there should be nothing after me. There's my contact info. I'm on Freenode now until they ban all Tor users again. They've been pretty good lately, but last time I got banned out. Too lazy to do that GPG thing that they've got. Tron is at OpenRCE. That's still a TourCon version. I'm gonna try and put a 23C3 bug fix release up in a bit. Somebody reported a bug right before, a couple of days ago, with instructions executing on page fault boundaries. So I'm going to write some tests for that and investigate that. Maybe in about a week or so, I'll put a Tron version 023 up on OpenRCE. And let me know if you have any other bugs. Possibly going to be looking at SMP support. There's somebody else, is the same person who reported the instruction boundary, page boundary issue, is also interested in working on SMP. So maybe we'll figure some stuff out together. But that's probably on the time frame of several months out. If the mic is going to work at all, I could try and take questions, I guess, or I can just hang out on IRC for a bit. I'm pretty much done. I can't hear applause. I'm so sad. I live for applause. Or whatever. Okay, yeah, I can take questions. Hey, applause! Hooray!
Okay. So if anybody got any questions, we've got somebody who will relay it over the IRC, I guess, and well, feel free to ask them anyways over the audio channel.
I would like to thank the speaker. It's been a very interesting experience, at least for me. I think for most people here, having no speaker at front, but it's definitely nice to have it at least working and see the proof of concept running. So thank you.
I would like to know if why he didn't use something like Festival or something similar. Festival voice synthesizer.